I didn't know an awful lot about this film going into it, but I'd seen the kind of disjointed trailers for it, and I thought, oh, that looks like it might be a nice drama. That looks like it might be exciting. Anna Taylor, I want to say Anna Taylor Joy, Ray Fiennes, interesting combination. There are a few other faces I recognised in there. But what did I think of the menu? Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel every week, and then movie reviews here at the weekend. All of my movie reviews are spoiler free, and I will leave a playlist of my movie reviews linked up above in case you are looking for something to watch this weekend. Yes, I went to see The Menu, which is out now. It's a funny one because I wasn't able to see this during term time because it only seemed to be playing really late at night, and I understand now that it is a bit of a thriller, a little bit of horror mixed in there, but there's also drama and there's also comedy. So I see now why it was playing late at night. I do get that, but I did have to wait until it was the school holidays in order to watch it because it would have been too late to cope with my bedtime during term time. So it was good to be able to finally get to see this one. I so enjoyed this film. It was one of those, it was just over 2 hours, so not super long, but for a film that started at 9 o'clock at night, a 2-hour film is quite a long film. But I sat there enraptured the whole time and didn't check my watch until about 15 minutes from the end, deciding whether I could make a toilet run before the end or not. So that's the high quality of this film. I just think this film was written so cleverly. It's got kind of elements slightly of Get Out in it. It's got elements of Saw in it. And yet I laughed at this film. There are people that I recognised in this film. This film made me think, and this film kept me on my toes. And so I just think it is incredibly well written. The kind of lighting, direction, cinematography make for an uncomfortable watch. I think you're supposed to be made to feel uncomfortable as an audience, and kind of made to feel a little bit like the customers who go to Hawthorne, which is an exclusive, multi-award winning, highly reviewed restaurant set on its own private island. So we see our customers, our diners, getting on the boat to go there. They get champagne when they get on the boat. They get an amuse-bouche when they get on the boat. They want, the customer to have this elevated experience. I think the meal costs around $1,200 per person, which we were discussing the price of it on the way home, thinking about how much they were charging versus the experience they were getting, and the restaurant can basically only take 12 people at a time. So you've got this claustrophobic environment, then you've got this prestige of being at this exclusive, highly reviewed restaurant. You're kind of setting these things up. Then you've got the price tag of the meal. So the people who are going to this meal are well off, well respected, wealthy individuals. We also know that there's a food critic amongst the group and people in the group who have been before. We have minor celebrities, and then we have people who are just foodies and they're there to enjoy the meal. And Ray Fiennes plays this head chef at the Hawthorne, who is, very much known for his cuisine and tailoring a menu to suit the guests that are coming that day. And it's important that we note that he has tailored the menu to suit the guests that are coming that day, because one of the guests has been involved in a last minute change. And so all of these things come together. The guests immediately get a tour of the island, and we know that the staff sleep on the island, as does Chef sleep on the island. So again, we've got that extra layer of claustrophobia. It's like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Nobody's seen going in, nobody's seen coming out. It's the people are on this island, we're trapped on this island, we see the boat leave as soon as it dropped people off, and then the fun begins. As I say, the sense of humour, I think the sense of humour is quite a British sense of humour. It's quite a dry sense of humour. And so I did laugh out loud several times during this film. I was also a bit scared several times during this film. We have that claustrophobic effect, and then we have the kind of tension of the other diners. And then we have some decisions that we know that Chef has made about the menu this evening. And I'm not going to spoil those, but there are some quite drastic decisions. And so it does get a bit scary. Obviously, with it being a very, very fancy restaurant. We know that the plating is going to be elaborate, but that the food might be just a little bit different and a little bit not suitable for vegetarians. There's some gore in this film as well, so you need to be warned of that. When I say that it got a little bit scary, it's not like, you know, you're watching Scream or you're watching Halloween and you're like, it's a jump scare. It is the fear factor created by the tension of the claustrophobia of the island and the tension of all the other things that I've just mentioned. I think that Anna Taylor-Joy was fabulous in this film because she plays somebody that is so completely different to all the other diners. All the other diners have quite a lot in common, and we know they're paying all this money for this meal, whereas we know that Anna Taylor-Joy has been brought there as a date of somebody who's gone to this island, and so she is completely different. She is a bit of an outcast. She is a bit of an unknown quantity, a little bit like the head chef himself. He's a bit of an unknown quantity. He does his own thing. He has his own private cottage on this island, and so the two of them have this in common, and so whenever we see them on screen together at the same time, there is this chemistry that's created by wonderful acting. These actors have read this script and gone, oh, these two people have something in common here, so we need to have them have a bit of a spark. I think that the other members of the dining room were really interesting because they were all quite different from each other and yet the same in that they've got this common goal and this commonality of having paid this much money to go to this exclusive restaurant. They've got this interest, and yeah, I just thought it was a really good film. I think that if I watched the film again, I would definitely see things that I hadn't noticed the first time because there is a lot of detail. There's a lot of detail in the level of the menu that chef has prepared in the story of the film, and therefore the writers have had to put in a lot of detail in the actual film itself to kind of match that energy of the storyline. And so it must have been interesting when kind of shooting and directing and sort of continuity type of things to make sure that that level of detail was there as well, and have these staff who are so like militant and regimented, looking at their areas that they sleep in. It's almost like a military operation, and the kind of like call and response thing with the chef, again, it's quite a military operation, and so you've got that level of it as well, this level of obedience, and so yeah, I really recommend it. Is it a film that you have to watch on the big screen? I don't think it has to be watched on the big screen. However, it is one of those films that I do think benefited from the fact that I was in a darkened cinema with a lot of people. It was a very full screening in a darkened cinema, completely focused on the film. As I say, I didn't check my watch until about 15 minutes from the end of the film, so nearly 2 hours into the whole experience. And so I think that if you're watching at home, you might lose some of that tension, you might lose some of those nuances, and you might miss out on the best bits of some of the performances of the actors, and also some of the best bits of the writing by the writers who've created this movie. So it's not one of these that visually or like audio wise you have to see it in the cinema. However, I do think that it benefits seeing it in an environment where you're going to be focused entirely on that and not checking your phone and not going to answer the door and not tidying up from dinner as you go along. I also would say that maybe it's not the best film to have something to eat with, because you're seeing all these unique flavors and flavor experiences on the screen, which, if you know the kind of like Michelin starred things, get quite meta, and so I think if you're eating, I think that would affect it, but that's just a personal opinion, as are all my movie reviews as we go along. But yeah, really highly recommend this one. And if you're going on sort of like a date night to the cinema, it made quite a nice date night movie for us. I think we were both interested in it and both enjoyed it in our own way, and it's not often we find a film in common that we both like to watch. So there you have it. Should you spend your cinema going money to go and see this one this week? Absolutely you should. You should. And it was a great way to start my cinema watching year. I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend. As always, if there is a particular film that you know is coming out at the cinema soon that you would like me to go and watch and review here, Do let me know in comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on my movie review next week and my bookish content for you in the week. I will be back with another movie review for you next weekend, so I will see you then. Thanks for watching.